The mode of arrangement of leaves on the stem is called Philotaxy. Why does a plant become insectivorous? When it is not getting sufficient nitrogen from the soil, then it goes for an alternate means of being an insectivorous. Hello everyone, welcome back to session 7 of this very interesting chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants. Myself, B. Shobharani from the Department of Biology, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. What did we learn in the last session? And today's session is the continuing part of the last session. Hope you remember we studied about leaf. All of us know that how important leaf is for a plant body. And leaf is the photosynthetic apparatus of a plant body where the process of photosynthesis takes place. And we also studied about the different types of leaf, that is the simple leaf and the compound leaf. Continuing the same concepts of leaf in today's session, we'll be discussing about a very important concept called Philotaxy. What is Philotaxy? It is the more, have you all observed how the leaves are arranged on the stem? Have you ever noticed it? Definitely you have to notice it, because the mode of arrangement of leaves on the stem is called Philotaxy. So how do we define the word called Philotaxy? The pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem or branches is called Philotaxy. What is Philotaxy? Once again I repeat, and this particular part concept what I am explaining is very important from examination point of view. Kindly make note of this, children. As you know, this is commonly asked in your question paper for the examination. So this is a very important concept. What is Philotaxy? Philotaxy is the mode of arrangement of leaves on the stem or branches is called Philotaxy. And Philotaxy are of 4 types. One is called the alternate Philotaxy, alternate spelling, alternate Philotaxy, opposite Philotaxy and oral Philotaxy. There is one more called superopposed Philotaxy. So you can say there are 3 main types of Philotaxy. One is called alternate, spelling is alternate. So spelling is wrong here. Alternate Philotaxy, then opposite Philotaxy and oral Philotaxy. As I said, the mode of arrangement of leaves on the plant body varies from a plant to plant or from a species to species. Now let us understand what are the 3 types of Philotaxy. First one, as I said, first one is called what? Alternate. Second one is called opposite. And third one is called oral Philotaxy. So what are the 3 types of Philotaxy? What is Philotaxy? Philotaxy is the mode of arrangement of leaves on the stem or branches is called Philotaxy, which is of 3 types: alternate, opposite and oral Philotaxy. Let us move on to one by one. Moving on to the first one, that is alternate Philotaxy. Alternate Philotaxy. In this type, I think I have explained in the last session, from where does the leaf arise? Leaf arises from the node of a stem. So usually the leaf arises from the node. So in this type, there is only one leaf at each node. So one node will bear only one leaf, alternating each other. Such a type of Philotaxy is called alternate Philotaxy. You will understand better with a diagram. See here, you can see this is one node. This is one node, this is one node. From one node, one leaf arises. So this is alternate. You can see alternate. One here, one here, one here, one here, one here. Alternate means what? One after the other. So such a type of Philotaxy is called alternate Philotaxy. What is alternate Philotaxy? In this type, there is only one leaf arising from each node. So this is the node. This is the node. So from one node, one leaf arises. And that too how? Like alternating each other. So one after the others. Hence the name alternate Philotaxy. Right. Classical example you can take is hibiscus. I think hibiscus is a very common flower which you come across in our daily life. So around us we come across many types of hibiscus. Have a look at the type of arrangement of leaves in hibiscus, then you will understand what is Philotaxy, what is alternate Philotaxy. So what is alternate Philotaxy? From one node only one leaf arises. So alternating each other, like alternating nodes you have alternate leaves, and such a type of arrangement of leaf is called alternate Philotaxy, and the classical example you can take is hibiscus. Moving on to the next type, opposite Philotaxy. What do you mean? The very word itself will tell you. Opposite. So from one node, two leaves arises. So you can see a pair of leaves arise from a common node. Here can you make out? Here see, this is one common node. From common node you can see the two, you can see the opposite leaves. Right. So in this type, the leaves are arranged in pairs at each node opposite to each other. Here you can see the difference. Here it is alternating each other. Here it is opposite to each other, just opposite to each other. Classical example you can take is Calotropis. Even you can take rose plant also. If you are not observed, rose is a very common plant which you come across. Just have a look at it. Have a look at the hibiscus plant leaves and have a look at the rose plant. Then you will understand. As I said, biology is something like which you can find around us. So if at all you want to know what is alternate Philotaxy, go and observe the leaves of hibiscus and go and observe the leaves of rose plant. Then you will understand what is alternate Philotaxy and what is opposite Philotaxy. Moving on to the third type, oral Philotaxy. Oral means what? From all the sides. I'll draw the diagram. See, here you can see oral means what? So from a common node, more than two leaves arise all around. So in this type, three or more leaves arise in orals at each node. From here you can see the difference. Here you can see the difference. From one node, you can see two or three leaves arising from a common node. Oral means what? Four, or from all the four sides. Oral means from all the four sides. So from all the four sides, you can see the leaves arranged. So such a type of arrangement is called oral Philotaxy. Example you can take Nerium. I think ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಕಾಶಿ ಕಣಗ್ಲೆ ಹೂವು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Right? Just observe that Kashi Kanagle plant and the leaves, then you will understand how the leaves are arranged. Hope you have understood this very important concept of Philotaxy. I repeat, what is Philotaxy? The pattern or the mode of arrangement of leaves on the stems or branches is called Philotaxy, and there are three main types of Philotaxy. One is called alternate Philotaxy, second one is called opposite Philotaxy, and the third one is called oral Philotaxy. So what is alternate Philotaxy? From one common node, the leaves arise from one node, one leaf, alternating each other. Classical example, hibiscus. What is opposite? From one node, two leaves arise opposite to each other. Hence it is called opposite Philotaxy. What do I mean by oral Philotaxy? From one common node, 2 to 3 leaves arise from all oral in a oral. Oral means what? From all the four sides. Example you can take is Nerium and Alamanda. Here you can take example of rose, Calotropis. There you can take the example of hibiscus. Hope you have understood this very important concept from examination point of view, that is Philotaxy. Next, coming across the leaf modification. Hope you remember in my last session, we have explained about root modification, then stem modification. Let us understand what is leaf modification. You may wonder, the very job of leaf is to carry on the process of photosynthesis. Then other than carrying on the process of photosynthesis, what other else job it is going to do? So as I said, why does it get modified? Other than carrying on the process of photosynthesis, it has some special functions to perform, form, hence it gets itself modified. So what is leaf modification? A slight change from the original appearance. So why does it undergo modification? To serve some special functions. To serve some special functions. Now let us see what are those functions. First and foremost is leaf tendril. Leaf tendril is for what? For support. Then here you can see the leaf spine, and third we can see the phyllodes. Now moving across the leaf tendrils. Have you ever observed spring-like structures on the leaf in a plant body? And that is mainly to take support. To take the support of the other plant so that it can climb and it can get sufficient sunlight to carry on the process of photosynthesis. Hope you know, particularly you might have come across plants having weak stem. So when the stems are very weak, they cannot stand on their own. So in that case, they will come out with certain strategies so that they can climb and then get the sufficient sunlight. As you know, sunlight is one of the raw material for photosynthesis, and such leaf modification is called leaf tendrils. So usually let us see what is leaf tendrils. Here you can see in this beautiful picture the tendrils. Here you can see the spring-like structures like this. Tendrils here also you can see. So it takes the support. Here it takes the support of the other plants. So spring-like structures. So what is leaf tendril? In weak-stemmed plants, leaves are modified into slender, wiry coiled structure which helps in climbing the support. Example, pea plant. Pisum. Actually, you are not supposed to put the scientific names in bracket. Only the common names should be put in bracket. So you are not supposed to put the bracket. Put the common names in bracket. So what is leaf tendril? In weak stemmed plants, what will happen? Leaves are modified into slender, wiry, coiled structure called tendrils, which will take the support of the other plant to climb. And this is commonly seen in plants which have a weak stem. Common example is pea. Have you ever observed the pea plant? If not, please do observe, you will get. And I think you come at even like cucurbita family, watermelon, then pumpkin, you can see the tendrils, right? Next, leaf spines. You hope you might have come across sometimes the spines are produced, and it is mainly to avoid the browsing animals. Browsing animals. So this is an adaptation for defense, you can call it as I said, to serve some special function. Here it is for climbing, anchorage. That leaf tendrils are mainly for mechanical support. Then here leaf spines are for defense, to protect itself from the grazing animals, from the browsing animals. So obviously, you know, when the browsing animals go to eat it, so when they come across spines, definitely they'll not go near it because it is going to prick. So leaf spines, stipules or entire leaf is modified into spines. Here you can see a classical example, Opuntia. So have you ever observed Opuntia plant? You can see all the spines here. And I think all of you know Opuntia is xerophytic plants growing in desert areas where the stem itself is modified into leaf, green in color, which carries on the process of photosynthesis, and all over the body, and it is a flattened structure where you can see it is having what? It is having spines. So obviously the spines will protect the plant from the browsing animals. So it is also one type of modification. Moving on to phyllodes. Here, the petiole of a leaf is modified into a flattened structure to perform photosynthesis. If you happen to see the phyllodes like flattened structures, you can see, that is, you can see in Acacia melanoxylon. So petiole itself is modified into a flattened structure like this. Flattened structure to perform photosynthesis. A classical example you can take is Acacia melanoxylon. So this is about the leaf modification. We are going to study about one more very important leaf modification. Have you ever observed plants eating insect? So we have a different type of plants where they are called as insectivorous plants, and particularly the leaf itself is modified into an insectivorous structure so that it can devour or eat the insect body. You may wonder why the insects why the plant eats insect, right? But when the plant is not getting sufficient nitrogen in the soil, then it goes for an alternate means where it itself gets modified into an insectivorous plants, where it eats the insects, and whatever protein is found in the insect body is digested by the plant, and it makes use of that for its growth. See, imagine how wonderful these plants are. Like, you come across many varieties of insectivorous plants. So leaf modification, as I said, why does a leaf gets itself modified to serve some special functions, like it gets modified into tendrils, particularly in case of plants which have a weak stem, so they form a wiry like structure, coil like structure for climbing, and it takes the support of the other plants to get sufficient sunlight for photosynthesis. Example, you can take the example of Pisum sativum. Then leaf spines, as I said, sometimes the stipules, the foliar structure or a small leafy like structure may get modified into a spine, or maybe the entire leaf also may get modified into spine, and it is mainly for protection, for defense, so that it can avoid the browsing animals. Then moving across the phylloid, as I said, petiole of a leaf is modified into a flattened structure to perform what? Photosynthesis. Moving on to the insectivorous plants. Hope you can see this beautiful picture. This is the picture of Nippanthus. It is otherwise called pitcher plant. Pitcher means not picture. Pitcher means pot-like structure. Can you observe? It is more or less like a pot-like structure, right? I'll show it in the other. So here it will be like this. Here the tip of the leaf is modified into a, see, this is what is called as pitcher. This is inside Nippanthus. So here you can see it is modified into a pot like structure, and it is having a lid, and this is called as the lid. And particularly this insectivorous plants, you can see how beautifully they are colored, and they are differently, they are somewhat different. Obviously the insects get attracted towards it. I think all of you know insect visits a plant, a flower or a plant to suck nectar. So without any rewards it is not going to visit a flower or a plant. So when it comes across this beautiful picture, it will mistake it to be a flower. So then it will come and it will sit, and when it enters inside, the lid closes. Here can you see the lid? This is the lid. So, and you can see the digestive enzymes inside. The digestive enzymes inside. See how beautifully it has been designed. See, it is able to digest the insect body. How? By producing the digestive enzymes which can digest the insects. See, and obtain the necessary nitrogen, that is the proteins. So imagine how wonderfully they are designed. So here the tip of the leaf is modified into a pitcher-like structure which is having a lid, and when the insects mistake it to be a flower, they come and sit. And as soon as they sit, immediately the lid closes so that the insect will not escape from the clutches of the pitcher. And then once it enters, what will happen? The digestive enzymes that are found inside is going to digest the insect body, and that is how it is going to obtain nitrogen or the particularly the protein, right? So that is about the pitcher plant. Now let us see what exactly is this Nippanthus plant. Here you can see Nippanthus, it is an insectivorous plant. Why does a plant become insectivorous? When it is not getting sufficient nitrogen from the soil, then it goes for an alternate means of being an insectivorous. What do you mean by insectivorous? Insect eaters are called as insectivorous plant, where the leaf lamina gets modified into a flower-shaped pitcher to capture and digest the insects. It has a long slender petiole which coils like a tendril, holding the pitcher in a vertical position. So here you can see the slender petiole. So the whole leaf lamina gets modified into a pitcher having a lid-like structure, right? What is Nippanthus? It is an insectivorous plant where the leaf lamina gets modified into a flask-like structure. So it gets modified into a flask-like structure with a lid, and to capture and digest insects. It has a long slender petiole which coils like a tendril, holding the pitcher in vertical position. Picture actually it is PIT It is not picture, it is picture. P-I-T-C-H-E-R. It is not picture, not that picture, it is picture. P-I-T-C-H-E-R. Now let us see, here you can see one frog also inside. By mistaken, it has entered the picture, right? And if it is not able to jump out, then it will go inside and gets digested. So there is no other option for it. And it produces a sticky like substance, so that the insects cannot escape from it. So that is another advantage for this insectivorous plant. They will develop some sticky like substance inside, a liquid like substance. Once they enter, there is no escape. They cannot escape from the pitcher plant, right? Now, the leaf apex, as I said, the leaf tip is modified into a lid, as I have showed, which covers the mouth of. Here you can see this is the inside part. The rim of the pitcher is beautifully, this is called the rim. This is the rim. The rim of the pitcher is beautifully colored with a row of nectar glands to attract the insects. See, there is one mechanism for the insectivorous plants to attract the insects. As I said, why the flowers are beautifully colored? Because to attract the insects for pollination. In a similar way, the insect is attracted by these nectar glands that is found on the rim. Rim means what? Margin. So to attract him. Once the insect enters inside the pitcher, the lid closes. So immediately, as soon as the insect comes and sits inside, then the lid will be automatically closed. See how beautifully the mechanism is. Really it is, we can say this plant kingdom or an animal kingdom is nothing but wonders of this planet Earth, we can say, right? So the lid closes and the pitcher secretes digestive enzymes called pepsin like HCl that digest the protein of insects into nitrogenous matter. Other such insectivorous plants, now let us see, there are some more insectivorous plants. I will be showing the beautiful pictures in the next slide, that is about the Venus flytrap, which is more or less like our hair clips, like locking system, and Drosera sundew plant, very very beautiful, the droplets, the colorful droplet like water dewdrops, morning dewdrops, it is going to attract the insects. And even this Venus flytrap, it has beautifully colored structures which is going to attract the insects, and obviously the insects get locked inside and gets digested. So that is about the Nippanthus plant. As I said, the leaf apex is modified into a lid which covers the mouth of the pitcher, and the rim of the pitcher is beautifully colored with what? Row of nectar glands to attract the insects. So once the insects come and sit, what will happen? The lid will close and the digestive enzymes like pepsin, that is HCl, will digest the proteins of the insect. So the necessary digestive enzyme should be secreted by the plants. If not, the insect body will not be digested. See how beautiful, even the plant secreting enzymes like this. I might have come across in human body, HCl is produced, pepsin is produced for the process of digestion of food. So in a similar way here also, pepsin is a enzyme which digests protein. HCl also acts as an activator for pepsin. Pepsinogen is activated into pepsin. So like that in a similar way. And that is that digest the proteins of insects into nitrogenous matter. So other such insectivorous plants are Venus flytrap and sundew plant, which is also called as what? Drosera. Now let us see the two more examples. So what are the three examples for insectivorous plants? This is also very important point from examination point of view. Insectivorous plants. One is Nippanthus, commonly called as what? Pitcher plant. Second one is Venus flytrap. See, the very word itself will tell you, trap. It is going to trap the insects. And third one is sundew plant. What is the other name for it? Drosera. Drosera. So now let us see in the next picture. See here, beautiful picture of the Venus flytrap and the sundew plant. Here you can see how the sundew. What do you mean by sundew? Early morning when you get up, you can see the water droplets, and those are called sundew drops. So in a similar way, you can see here. And this is one mechanism to attract the insects towards it. Here you can see the Venus, here you can see the insect is already trapped in this. So it is having a what you call it as a locking system, and once the insects come and sit, it is locked inside. And as I said, it cannot escape from the clutches of this sharp structures. Here, see how beautiful it is designed. Really, I can say that nature is something which is really beautiful, and I think these are all the wonders of this planet Earth, I can say. Can we make plants like this? Can we design it? See how it is designed naturally. So this is all something which is very unique, which we need to observe and also appreciate the mechanism that is involved. Definitely we need to appreciate all this. See how beautiful it is designed. See the locking like system, just like the same mechanism like how we use a hair clips. So you might have come across, we use hair clips with the mechanism like this. So in a similar way, here you can see once the insect gets locked inside, that's the end of it. So it cannot escape from the clutches of this, and obviously it gets digested inside. Here you can see the sundew plant, or called what we call it as Drosera. Here you can see the beautiful drops, sundew drops. So obviously they get attracted, and here you can see once the insect sits here, it gets locked. All this will cover it. So it will cover the whole insect body. Here you can see that mechanism is automatic. Everything is automatic. Like we know what is automatic. Everything happens on its own. So here also it is on. Why? So it will be open. By the time the insects will come and sit, it will get trapped like this. See, automatically it gets trapped. And here also, simply it will not close. Only when the insects comes and sits, then it gets locked. Here also, once the insects comes and sits here, all the leaflet-like structure here you can see, they all will be withdrawn to the center part. Here you can see once it enters here, it cannot escape from the clutches of from the plant. So all these are the leaf modifications. So as I said, the leaf itself gets modified to serve some special function, and one such special function here is the insectivorous plants. So why does the plants become insectivorous? When they are not getting sufficient nitrogen, then they become insectivorous, where they trap the insects, devour the body of the insects and get the sufficient nitrogen. Hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in this beautiful session of a very interesting chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants. As I said, nature itself is so beautiful with plants and animals, and when you observe this and when we study this chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants, maybe each one of us would not have made this minute observations about these plants, but when you study, you will understand how beautifully they are designed. So that is what is the beauty of plants and animals. So I'll be back in the coming session with some more concepts of this very interesting chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants. Till then, goodbye and thank you.